Good evening and hello everyone. Welcome to today's webinar on COVID-19 vaccinations for seafarers and return to service. It's great to see you all online, and I do hope you, your families and your friends are all doing well and staying safe. The COVID-19 pandemic has been a worldwide public health emergency since March 2020 and has had serious impacts on the global economy and businesses worldwide. Most importantly, it has affected the cruise industry, leading to a pause in operations. However, we're slowly bouncing back with many of the brands under the Carnival Corporation now returning to service with a few ships. The numbers are expected to increase as we go along. The Carnival Corporation has made health, safety, and well-being of our passengers and of our teammates its top priority. To this end, we are committed to providing the safest work environment possible. That said, the global pandemic situation is very fluid, and we cannot, at any circumstances, leave our guard down. I'm Rakesh Nair, and I'll be hosting today's session. And joining me is Prasad Hariharan, Managing Director of Carnival Support Services India Private Limited, who will be leading the discussion today. Apart from the COVID-19 vaccination and return to service plans, we will also discuss other topics which you asked us about in the survey. We hope to have an engaging conversation, and I request that you stay with us till the end. So Prasad, welcome to the webinar, and thank you for taking the time to address our teammates on leave. To start off, can you please let us know the current situation with the return to service plans across all brands?
So thank you so much, Rakesh. Firstly, thanks to all of you who have joined us on this webinar. Thank you for your time. We thought that this is the best way to communicate to all our crew who are on leave and answer their questions directly. And thank you for so many questions that you have put on our query link as well. So as Rakesh said, we've gone through a really tough time in the last 12-18 months, beginning March 2020, when we put a pause to all the cruising. But the good news is that we are slowly starting to come back into business. As we speak, there are 20 ships of the entire Carnival Corporation, which is welcoming guests on board. And there are about 12 ships which will join this fleet in September, October. Yes, this is still not really going back to our glorious days when we had, the entire fleet out there providing service to guests. But yes, it's a good start, and I'm hoping that with everybody's support, we are able to go from success to success. And the crew on board are really very, very happy. The people who traveled on board, some of our staff from the UK, US offices have been on board for shakedown cruises just to test the systems. And the reports that we get is the crew are really very happy to be back on board. And I'm sure all of you will be as well when you get back on board and start to make a living. Thank you so much for joining us today.
So just to add a little bit on that and ask you, so we do have 20 ships that you mentioned are returning to service or have already returned to service with passengers on board. And I do believe that all the other ships, they are also operating with minimum operation. Can you tell us something about that?
Oh, yes. I mean, our industry is such, our ships are such that you can't just leave it empty. We have massive, expensive systems on board. We need a minimum manning to keep the ships running. So yes, on any ship at any time, even if they are not accepting guests, we will have a minimum manning on board. These will comprise of some navigation staff, crew, some engineering crew, some hotel, because we need to provide food and service to all the people who are currently on board. So yes, there is a minimum manning depending upon the size of the ship. this could vary between anything between 100 to 150 people you have to have on board to keep the systems running.
Okay, that's good to know. One of the main points of concern for our teammates, especially those from the Holland America Group and Carnival Cruise Line, these are the brands which primarily operate in the United States, has been the temporary closure of the US consulate across India. I know this meant that our teammates with expired visas could not renew them. So what is the current status with the consulate, with the US consulate at the moment?
So if we had this webinar a couple of weeks back, I would have had a different story. But the timing of this webinar is really, very good. We were getting very, very few appointments at the US consulate until about a couple of weeks back. But the US consulate has opened up more appointments on their portal. And especially they have now given shipping companies an ability to apply for visas in groups of anything between 10 to 40 people. So this helps us in processing and getting more visas renewed. So for all those people who are on leave, especially the ones that you just mentioned, people from Carnival Cruise Lines and Holland America Group, where a lot of ships are based out of the US and they need their US visas to go out there and join the ships. It's just turning around now. We are actively looking at seeking bulk appointments with the US consulate, and very soon you should hear from us. Having said that, I know you are very, very anxious to get your visas renewed, and we are getting a lot of calls in our office just to inquire, why am I not getting a US visa interview date or why a US visa renewal date? And the volume of calls, we're finding it a really big challenge to address all those calls or even take those calls. So my request to all the people who are on leave, who are waiting for their US visas, please allow us time to get appointments and then get in touch with you. By calling up our office, the lines get clogged. All of us at CSSI are working from home, and they are taking calls on their mobile phones. So it becomes very, very difficult to respond to all these calls. So again, my request is, please do not call up the office for inquiring about either your joining date or your visas. We are all working on this, and as soon as we have something for you, you would hear from us. And those of you brands who have got their crew apps, like the Crew Zone, the TM Hub, TM Portal, or the CSS apps, you will see your rotations featuring out there.
Okay, that's great. So I have a question to ask you, Prasad. So if I'm a Holland America, I work on board Holland America line, my visa has expired, but I have checked my CSS app and I don't see any rotations. Will I be allowed to apply for a visa?
So the CSS rotations, yes, you will get your rotations on the CSS app. But what we have at the moment at the back end is we have a list of people. I mean, we are constantly fed with data from all the brands of how many people are needed, who are the people who are needed to join the ships in the future. So we will be going through that data. We will be securing appointments with the consulate. And as soon as we get an appointment, we will let you know. The team will get in touch with you, ask you to get all your applications in place. We will ask you if the process is for you to pay for the visas online. We will give you the instructions, and we will ask you for your passports to be couriered to us so that we can deposit it with the VFS. Okay, so does that answer the question, Rakesh?
Yes, it does. So, I mean, from what I hear you saying is that it doesn't matter if I have an appointment date. If my US visa is expiring, then somebody from the office will call me up and let me know about the future plans.
That is true. I mean, it is a requirement for the company to get you your US visas before we can place you on board. And
Yes.
our objective is to find a position for everybody who is currently on leave sooner than later.
Great, great. Thank you. And Prasad, I also heard you discuss about the volume of calls that CSA office has been receiving. So in case crew need to speak to somebody, what is the best way to do it?
Yes, I mean, I completely understand that you need some answers. So we have created a link. So Rakesh, if you want to just share the link with everybody out here. So I request you to access this particular link, okay? It's called, just look at this on the screen. It's gone into thank you mode, thank you. It's called www.bit.ly/connect with CSSI. Use this particular link to send us all your queries. It will be directed automatically to the right team. We are monitoring response rates. We have an internal SLA to make sure that all the queries are responded to. So my request to all of you is use this particular link, send us your queries. But again, if you are just sending us your query saying, can I have a joining date? When am I going to get my US visa interview? The answer is going to be pretty standard, that we are working on this. And trust me, we are all working on this. We've had people in the team working 3 shifts all through the night to try and get US visa appointments. The team are working really, very hard to help you to get back on board.
Right. And also for our viewers, we will put this link on the description link. So, it's easy access for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great, Prasad. So on to our next question. Can you tell us a little bit about the medical process and the STCW compliance?
Okay, the STCW compliance, let me take that first.
Okay.
So the STCW certificates are a prerequisite for you to join any ship. So if your certificates have expired or nearing expiry, my request to you, my advice to you is to go out there. There are lots of DG approved institutes, maritime training institutes, which are currently offering online refresher courses and renewal courses. You can go out there and get your certificates renewed. Because even if we were to get you a US visa, an appointment, and everything is in place, unless your STCW certificates are valid for your entire tour of duty, we will be constrained from putting you on board the ship. And that's the reason that please look at these. These are tools that all seafarers have to have for their trade. And our trade can only be practiced when we get on board a ship. And to get on board a ship, we need our basic certifications. So that's on STCW. Please get your certificates renewed. And like I said, the DG has opened up online courses for you to all attend and get yourself renewed. Coming back to pre-employment medicals, the PEMI. Now, we will be getting in touch with you with a joining date. And if your PEMI is not going to be valid for the next tour of duty, which I suspect most of you will have to go through a pre-employment medical, having stayed at home for a very long time, please wait for us to get in touch with you. with a joining date, because we want you to have the maximum validity on your PEMI. Okay, the ships are only just coming back into service. And then if you go out there, get your PEMI renewed, and you have another, a few months to go before you go back on board, then to that extent, your PEMI certificate is going waste. So please wait till we get you a joining date, and then we will send you an introductory letter to the PEMI clinic, where that is the practice. Some clinics, some brands just allow you to go to a nearest DG-approved clinic, but there are other brands who have got a list of clinics and they need an introductory letter. So we will provide you with that supporting letter to get to the PEMI clinic and do your medicals.
Okay. And also to add, Prasad, the STCW courses, if at all you are doing or refreshing, it needs to be from a DG shipping authorized MD training institute.
Yes, please. And please do attend these courses. And these are for your safety. And it is you've got to attend these. Don't just put the video on and then not pay attention. It's not good for you. It's not good for the company. It's not good for anyone. So please take these courses seriously. Like I said, these are your tools to work on board the ship.
Thanks, Prasad. So now coming to one of the most important topics of today's webinar is the COVID-19 vaccination. Please, can you advise your thoughts on what our teammates should keep in mind?
So from the company perspective, one of our highest priorities is your health and safety. Okay. And vaccine availability in India, fortunately, has improved a lot, especially in cities. But I'm told that even in tier 2, tier 3 cities and in remote places, vaccine availability has improved through government centers as well as through private clinics, private hospitals, private clinics. So please get yourself vaccinated for your health and safety. And where you have a choice, and I repeat this, where you have a choice, I suggest you take a WHO-approved vaccine. Currently, in India, we have Covishield, which is WHO-approved. Covaxin, I'm expecting, there is news that it will be approved by the WHO in the next couple of weeks or so. But like I said, that's not a compulsion. If your area has a vaccine which currently is not WHO approved, please go ahead and accept it and take the vaccine. But if you have a choice, please go in for a WHO approved vaccine, because some of the ships, some of the countries where our ships are sailing, they are accepting only WHO approved vaccines. Okay. And if that is the case, it's good to have a Covishield jab. Okay. It's a preference, not a compulsion.
Right, Prasad. Okay, so if I'm if I'm a seafarer and I've got my first dose of Covishield vaccine, and my next dose can only be after 84 days as per the Government of India mandate, are there any special provisions for seafarers?
Yes, I'm glad you asked the question, Rakesh. The Government of India has waived off the 84-day period for people who have got overseas employment. It is now reduced to 28 days. So for Covishield, where the standard for the general public, the gap has to be 84 days between the two doses. For people who have overseas employment, they can get their second jab after 4 weeks, which is 28 days. Now, you will need a letter from your sponsoring company to take to the government clinic. You can't go with this letter to a private clinic because the government has only authorized government clinics to be able to give this second dose of Covishield after 28 days. So please access this link that you saw on your screen, the Connect with CSSI. You will have an option out there where you can request for a letter, and we will give you a letter which will support you in getting the Covishield earlier. Okay, again, thank you so much, Rakesh. That's the link. Please use this link if you are nearing your 28-day period after your first dose of Covishield. Send a message across to us, okay? We will provide you with a supporting letter, which will enable you to get the second jab after 28 days. But if you are, for some reason, not able to do it, please get your second dose after the 84 days gap. Okay? It is very important to be fully vaccinated, and your immunity, your full immunity only starts coming in 2 weeks from your second dose. Okay. Now, another thing before, I think the next question will be what happens if, I've got my first dose and then I've got a joining day. Do I have to wait at home to get my second dose? No. Okay. You don't have to wait. So the company is sourcing vaccinations for people who are not fully vaccinated. And when you go on board the ship, if you have got a joining date after your first dose and you can't, you obviously want to go on board and get back on board and start sort of your employment again, please don't worry. Your employer will ensure that you will get a full dose of COVID vaccine on your arrival. Yes, there is going to be, the company is trying to source vaccines wherever they are based, and it may not be the same vaccine that you got out here. But the world over, I've got a few relatives in the US and Canada, and out there, they are sort of giving, related vaccine. I'm not so technical to understand what exactly works with what, but there are certain sort of vaccines which can be given, which is, your first dose is one vaccine A, your second dose could be a vaccine B. And people around the world, unfortunately, India hasn't it's still work in progress in India, but in other states, there is a process where vaccines can be mixed, and people are having pretty healthy immunity because of that. Okay, so please go ahead, get your first shot. I sometimes get, I'm told my team gets calls from people to say that my friend got a vaccine when he went on board the ship. I am not going to take the vaccine in India. I want to wait till I go back on board the ship and get a vaccine. If any of you have got this particular thought, I'm sorry, but you're being very, very stupid. In today's time, we need to care for our own health and safety and that of our family. Please do not wait till you get a joining date just because your colleague, your friend got it when they went on board. Please take your vaccine when it is available, close to where you live.
Okay, thanks, Prasad. So is it necessary? So if I've taken both my vaccines, I'm fully vaccinated. Is it necessary for me to, email my vaccination certificate, and how do I inform CSSI that I'm fully vaccinated?
Yeah. So we are keeping a track of how many people how many of our crew on leave are vaccinated. We again have a way where you can send us your vaccination status. As soon as it changes, you can access this link. Rakesh, if you want to just share that link, please. Please go out to this particular link and tell us about your vaccination status. Okay, it's www.bit.ly/CSSI vaccination. When you go out there, you will be asked questions about, have you taken your vaccine? If you have taken your first dose, when did you take your first dose, second dose? So all these things you will be asked, and it'll be good for you to tell us about your vaccination status. Some of the countries that we are based, they are insisting that before ships are allowed to do commercial sailing, 95% minimum 95% of the people on board, including passengers and crew, are fully vaccinated. Okay, that's a condition for us to start commercial sailing in some of the countries. And it becomes really very important for us to use whatever available opportunity that we have when we are on leave to get ourselves vaccinated and protected against this dreaded disease. And not only for your health and safety, it will just help you get back on board sooner so that you comply with the 95% requirement of these companies. And it's something which is completely outside our control. These are sort of local regulations, and we have to have those number of people on board. So just imagine the challenge that we have as a company to get people vaccinated, get them on board, and make sure that you don't go below the 95%. So, yeah, and just to let you know, CSSI has, we have a tie-up with 2 hospital chains. So there is one hospital chain called Shalby Hospitals. They are mostly sort of in the central part, I think Gujarat-based hospital chain. They have hospitals across different states. There is another company called Rakesh, it is called Medicare.
Medicare, yes. Yeah.
So they have hospitals in Calcutta, in Ranchi, in Siliguri. So if you are in any of these states and you can access these hospitals, we can give you a letter introducing you to these hospitals so that you can get your vaccine shots. So another thing, I'm glad we are talking about vaccines because it is such an important topic to discuss. Here, your brand, your employer is going to reimburse you for your vaccine costs. So you don't have to, in case there is less availability in a government clinic, I know that government clinics give you free vaccines, but you can go to a private hospital, a private clinic. You can pay for the vaccines that you take. Make sure you keep your receipts, okay? And then when you go back on board the ship, you can put in a claim for reimbursement of your vaccine costs. So that means that there is no reason why you should not get vaccinated. And please tell us about your status, vaccination status. There are many people who have told us about their vaccination status, and thank you so much for that. We take a constant, regular sort of report out, but there are still a lot of people who have completely ignored this particular step of telling us about your vaccination. Rakesh?
Right. So, yes. So, again, this link will be visible in the description below. So you can click this link and just update your vaccination status. Right.
Okay, moving on to the next.
Yeah.
Anything?
One of the things, the cruise shipping industry over the years, it's been facing the menace of some teammates absconding in the US. The Carnival Corporation is no exception. The actions of a few individuals bring our cruise industry into disrepute. So can you please provide the larger picture here? How does this affect CSSI and the Indian seafarer community?
You've touched upon such an important subject. We've been sort of fighting this menace for many years now. And these are few people who use our visas, the C1D visas, which you are supposed to use only for transiting a US airport to go and join a ship. They arrive at an airport and they desert ships. Okay, they just don't join the ships. Now, this is proving to be a really big challenge for all companies, especially companies which are based out of the US. And Carnival Corporation is no exception, as you said. These actions of a very few number of people is not only bringing disrepute to the entire Indian workforce on cruise ships, which is largely, honest people who want to go abroad, make a living, and support their families back home. They are bringing this big disrepute to all the seafarers of Indian community, and to the extent that it poses a risk of employment for all of us out here. And that's the reason that anybody who is even thinking about this, let me tell you that it's not a good idea at all. Whoever it is who's painting a very rosy picture about, being a illegal alien, as they call it, in US soil, it's not going to be that good. You are going to be constantly on the lookout by the authorities out there. If you are caught, you're going to be, and some of them have been caught. Okay, you are deported. You are banned from going back into US. And trust me, you don't get any jobs back on ship at all in any company. Okay. And for all the others who are honest seafarers who want to go abroad and make a living, please keep your ears and eyes open. If you hear about any of these activities, it's not good to support it. And it's not good to keep quiet about it. It is going to have a really bad effect on all of us. You might think that, oh, I'm not the one who's even thinking about it. If somebody else is doing it, that's his funeral, let him do it. That's fine. I'm sorry. You need to act on it. If you get to know about somebody who's going to take this illegal action, you have to inform your employers. I mean, that is, you can inform us and we can take some corrective measures. So, because I know that one of our competitor companies, before the pandemic started, they stopped recruiting Indians completely because of this menace. Okay, I hope that we don't come to that particular situation because, like I said, the vast majority of our seafarers are honest seafarers who want to go abroad, work, make a career at sea, and make their living and support their family back home. And we want to keep it that way.
Thanks, Prasad. And is the Director General of Shipping Office have they introduced some punitive measures?
Yes, if you don't already know about this, we informed the DG Shipping of all the people who abscond in a foreign country. And the DG immediately, they have taken measures, they have cancelled your registration, your CDC, and they are even recommending your passports. The people who have absconded, their passports to be cancelled. So there is a channel of communication between the Director General of Shipping and the External Affairs Ministry for cancellation of passports of people who desert ships. Now that's not going to be good for anyone, because you will not know until you try to come back, because you will be stuck. Okay, and you know, it's not good for anyone. So the DG Shipping, thank you. I mean, I'd like to openly thank the DG Shipping for their support in this, because they understand that this is a menace, especially for the cruise industry, and we have to stem this at in all possible ways.
Thanks, Prasad. Thank you so much. Just looking at some of our chat comments out here, see some about Costa Asia ships. When are they going to return to service? So at this point of time, we don't really have visibility on when Costa Asia ships will resume. This is the same with P&O Cruises Australia. We're closely liaising with the government authorities and ensuring and in trying to open up channels of communication and see when these when this is going to be possible. But yes, as soon as Costa Asia and P&O Cruises Australia they start service, you'll be the first to know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So Prasad, you know, e-migrate is a requirement for any crew to join a ship now, and you know, CSSI, we have an e-migrate cell. You know, we carry out. So, what are the things that you would like to tell the crew about this procedure?
For people who don't know about what is the e-migrate process, let me just take you and tell you what exactly is the process and what is the genesis of this. What is the history of why it started? So there were a lot of these like run-of-the-mill agencies who were recruiting people and putting them on you know, fake contracts and then sending them abroad, and they end up being stranded you know, on ships, not getting salaries and everything. So the DG Shipping, you know, they have introduced a licensing system. It's been there for a very long time. It's called Recruitment and Placement Service License, an RPSL. So if you go on to the DG website, you will get a list of all the authorized RPSLs. These are the only companies who are authorized to hire and send people on board merchant ships. Now, how do we make sure that people who are passing through the immigration have gone through an authorized agency? So the DG Shipping requires us to upload data of all our crew joiners onto their website. So we tell the DG Shipping website, we upload the data of, you know, if you're joining, your name, which ship you're joining, what is the contract length, and when are you supposed to fly out. So all this data, we upload it into the DG Shipping website. Now the DG website then syncs with the immigration website. The immigration department you know, has a website where they have a list of all the travelers. So when you go to an immigration officer at the airport, he looks up at a screen. You know, when he looks at your passport, he looks up at a screen. Now, what he sees for a seafarer is the data which has moved from the DG website onto the immigration website. That means that he knows that, you know, you've gone through a proper licensed agency and you are good to go. What the DG site does is, as soon as we upload this data, they send a message on email to the individual seafarer with the details saying that you have your endorsed number, this is the date, this is the travel, your e-migrate has been approved. Okay. Now this comes to you on your email, and a copy comes to the CSSI's email. Okay. Now what is important for all of you is to make sure that you check your email box, your inbox, okay, 2-3 days before your flight date. We start this process from our end at D-7, for instance. Okay, maybe because of big volumes, it might take a couple of days. By at least D-3, that is 2-3 days before your actual flight date, you should have an email from the DG website saying that your e-migrate has been cleared. And where possible, please carry a printout or at least carry this on your phone. So what happens, and it has happened a few times, where there has been some hitches between the sync between the DG website and the immigration website. What it results is that although we have done our bit, the data has not moved across to the immigration officer does not have it on his screen. But he's going to be convinced if he sees an email which the site has sent. Okay, so please carry this. And many times people have just gone to the airport and then calling us up desperately on our 24/7 helpline saying that, oh, I don't have this e-migrate email. It doesn't help you, doesn't help us, because we have to scramble to get a copy of this and find a way where we can send it across to you while you are waiting in the immigration queue. It's not ideal. So please check your inbox. Please check your spam folders, because many a times the emails go onto your spam folder. And more importantly, please go to your DG profile and check your email address, because that's the source. If your email address out there is incorrect, or you have stopped using that email now, you are using some other email, you won't get that e-migrate email. So it's very good for you to go out there and check. These are all preparations that you need to do before you travel abroad to join a ship. Okay.
Thanks, sir. Yeah, I mean, I think the important point here is that if you don't see it on your inbox, then you should definitely be checking your spam or your junk folder for this email.
True, that is true. Yeah. And do get in touch with us through, again, the link. There is a program where you can prioritize. If you are traveling in the next 48 hours, you can prioritize the sort of. We will get back to you sooner.
Yes, thank you. So, Prasad, some more questions from the chat. So we've got some queries. Is it safe on board for crew members after vaccination?
Goes without saying. It is very, very safe. In fact, even before pre-COVID, and I know. I mean, all of us have worked on board ships. Thankfully, I have worked on board ship as well. And we know that the hygiene standards on board our cruise ships is at a much higher level than traditional hotels and restaurants. So the care that is taken on board is absolutely tuned to your safety. So even after you go on board, there is a period of quarantine. You are kept in an isolated cabin, for a certain number of days, depending upon your vaccination status. 7 days or 10 days, depending again upon local regulations. And then you are supported through the entire thing. As I said, 95%, most countries are insisting now. So you are in a pretty safe environment. And slowly, countries are opening up fully vaccinated people. That means that another advantage, which I had to call out earlier, is that if you are fully vaccinated, you have a better chance of getting a show leave. Okay. Because a lot of countries are, like I said, opening up to fully vaccinated people. So more so that you need to get yourself fully vaccinated before you travel out from here. There will be occasions where you can meet people socially on board. And again, you will have an advantage if you are fully vaccinated.
Okay. All right.
Some sort of events will only be open to fully vaccinated people.
Yeah. Another question we've been asked is, do we need a booster dose if you're fully vaccinated? Any John?
I can tell you that the WHO is not recommending a booster dose at the moment. So if you have 2 shots of the vaccine, or if it is a J&J, Johnson & Johnson one, it's just 1 shot, okay? There is no need for a booster as per the WHO at the moment. But there are some countries which are giving a booster, and that is something that they are doing it depending upon their own research. But the priority should be to get yourself the full course of the vaccine. In India, we have, Covishield, Covaxin, Sputnik. I think Moderna and J&J are in the pipeline.
Yes.
But do the full course of whatever is the vaccine, and that should be good enough.
So, Prasad, I mean, I know that you answered this before. So if somebody is fully vaccinated with Covishield, will they need to take another set of vaccinations once they join? Or is that
unlikely?
Unlikely.
Unlikely, because Covishield is a WHO-approved vaccine.
Okay.
There are some sort of European countries where they are not approving Covishield, although they are approving AstraZeneca. It's a pretty strange, it's the same formula. But, it's a very fluid situation. It's changing every day around the globe. And it's not that, we have a situation which is static and everything is very well defined by all the countries. Every country is bringing out their own rules. And it is for us to go out there and adapt to those particular rules. But one of the key considerations is health and safety. So if there is anything which is contrary to your health and safety, it will not be done. And that's an assurance that most countries and most employers abroad are doing.
100%. Okay, another question is on the seafarer identity document. I'm happy to take that question. So at this point of time, the DG Shipping Office has suspended the issue of seafarers identity document, the SID cards, due to the ongoing pandemic. But the payment online, that payment will still be valid for when they reopen. Is SID compulsory? It's not compulsory at the moment, but we recommend that you apply. If you have Indian CDC and if you have time on your hands, please go ahead and apply. Do check the DG Shipping website for information on whether or not the site has been opened. Right. Prasad, I think we've come to the end of our session today. Thank you, Prasad, for taking the time out to speak to us, and a big thanks to all our teammates for joining today's webinar. Stand by for more such webinars, which will happen as we progress. And if you have a question which we have not answered today, please use the link of which we have displayed. It will be there on the description link. So Prasad, any last words before we close?
Yeah, we do intend to send you an FAQ to all people who are invited to this particular webinar, so that people who missed it can go through the questions and answers and benefit from it. Once again, thank you for making time for this webinar. It was a very, very good, I think communication has to take the shortest route. Okay, so this is the shortest route where we can communicate with the mass, people who are on leave. So thank you so much for joining.
Thank you. Thank you, Prasad.
Thank you.